here we have our work together 11-2, and we take a look at our directions. We can see that we have a partial sales and cash receipts journal for Graphics Inc. Also given below are one blank accounts receivable account form and a blank form for preparation of a schedule of accounts receivable. You will also need the general journal as shown, and I'm going to guide you through the following examples. So what we need to do first is we need to start a new page for accounts receivable ledger for Brandy Sparks. The account number for Brandy Sparks is 140 and a balance is of $212. So I'm going to use my drop-down menu. I'm going to find Brandy Sparks, put her name on the customer, and again, because we have a drop-down menu to choose our ledgers, it seems odd that we have to type in the name where it always is, but that's why, otherwise we'd have a really super long assignment. And again, our account number is 140. Now, accounts receivable ledgers are going to be put in alphabetical order as well. Now, this may come up. Remember, I said earlier that accounts receivable tends to be customer names. So if all of you were customers for me, what order would I put your names by? Alphabetical by last name. Okay, don't look at Brandy Sparks thinking, oh, B. Brandy, she's going to be early on in the order, because you have to go by S. Sparks. Okay, and if you do have a business name, typically business names are going to be alphabetized by the first important word. Like, you're not going to alphabetize by the, but you would use the next word in it. Okay, so the next thing we have to do for Brandy is we have to put in here the date of October 1st. And we have a balance of, and with V in the post reference, and a balance of $212. Instruction number 2, after we have that in there, is we're going to post from our sales journal. And this is what I talked about. Oh, I forgot to say it to this class. When I took a look at Chapter 10's test, if I could have eyes up here, I had at least 5 people between my 2 classes that had errors on the sales journal because you had these in the wrong spots. You have to look at the heading. This should be sales and that should be sales tax. Okay, so you have to read the heading. Don't always assume. And students went through and they flip-flopped. They had the sales tax where it said sales and the sales where it had sales tax. Does that make sense? So your debits and credits equal, but you had it in the wrong columns. And that was a lot of points because you got this line wrong, and then what would happen to your totals? Your totals would have been wrong as well. So always watch to see what your column headings are. Okay? So when we take a look at our sales journal, look at this word right here. Account debited. Okay, now it's not quite as simple as our purchases journal because our purchases journal only has 1 column for numbers. Our sales journal has 3 columns. At least 2 of those columns will be filled in. We do have some customers that don't need to pay sales tax. So when we take a look at here, we know that this Brandy Sparks is going to be debited, but I have 3 numbers here. Okay, and we need to know which number we use. Remember, which ledger are we using right now? Accounts receivable. Do you see right here at the very top of this column it says accounts receivable? So that tells you this is the amount that needs to go in that journal. Do we have a journal, or excuse me, a ledger called sales? Do we have a ledger called sales tax? No, so we're going to be using this number. Okay, we're posting to an accounts receivable ledger and we have to use the amount from the accounts receivable column. So we know that Brandy Sparks is being debited because the column heading here right there on our journal does not say account title, it says account debited. So we'll put the date of the 20th. And now, who wants to take a random guess at our post reference? S10. Remember yesterday we're doing P's and CP's and G's. So the name of our journal is a sales journal, so we're going to use S and then 10 because it's sales journal page 10. And we're debiting Brandy Sparks $576.64. So do $576.64 plus $212. And that will be $788.61. The last thing that we do is we take that account number 140 and it goes back up in our post reference. Congratulations, you just posted from the sales journal. Woohoo, yay! Wasn't that hard? Dylan's shaking his head. Nope, got it. You rock that thing. So which journal are we posting from next? Yep, so instruction number 3 says we're going to look at the cash receipts journal. And just like we talked about yesterday, that we only have a partial journal that's given to us, and we're posting obviously line 9. And we have 3 ledgers: general, accounts receivable, and accounts payable. Accounts receivable and accounts payable is going to be called our subsidiary ledgers. When we take a look at Alfredo Lopez, he is in our accounts receivable ledger. So therefore, when I look at my cash receipts column, the number that I'm using has to be for my accounts receivable column. Don't use the amount from your cash column, because these two could be different, couldn't they? If they had a sales discount. And we always need to affect them by the amount that is in your accounts receivable column. And we know that we're going to be crediting it because that's what it says, accounts receivable credit. Now remember, we have an account in our general ledger that it's controlling account that will give us the total value that is going to be received by all of our customers at any given point. So the date here is going to be the 21st. Post reference is going to be CR for cash receipts and then 12 for page 12. And then we're going to be crediting Alfredo for $254.40. And the new balance is going to be $1,272. The last step is to always take account number 130 and put it back up top. Instruction number 4 on our directions says to post the credit line entry on line 3 of our general journal. So I'm going to switch now from cash receipts to general. When I take a look at line 3, we have accounts receivable David Bishop. And David Bishop is being, when I go all the way across, is being credited for $55.12. So I'm going to put the date of the 12th. Post reference, we are posting from our general journal, so I'm going to do G11, and we're crediting for $55.12. What happened with David Bishop on October 12th? What happened with this transaction right here in our general journal? These 3 lines. Nope, didn't pay cash on account. What's our source document? See, look at our accounts. We have sales returns and allowances, sales tax, and accounts receivable. So therefore, this David Bishop is a customer, and David returned items to us. Customers, you should always associate with sales. So therefore, we have a sales returns and allowance. So we returned $52 worth of product, which had $3.12 worth of sales tax. So the total amount that he returned to us is $55.12. We got to make sure we account for the value of the product and the value of the sales tax. So he previously had owed us $238.50, and I'm going to subtract out my $55.12. So now he owes us $183.38. And then account number 110 is going to go back up top. The last step that we have to do is to go through and prove that what we've posted is correct and that we didn't make a math mistake. So we prepare what is called a schedule of accounts receivable. So in the very bottom, we have our schedule of accounts receivable. In the very top, we put the name of our business, which is Graphics, Inc. Name of our document was the schedule of accounts receivable, and then the date, which is October 31st of the current year. Now, I need to go through and start with my very first accounts receivable account and put in the name of the account, which was going to be David Bishop. And he has a balance of $183.38. Then I choose the next item, which is Maria. For $286.20. Next account, which has a balance of $1,272. Now, last account, which is Brandy, $788.61. Now, what's that? Did I do math wrong? It is supposed to be 64. Nice, Preston. I made a boo-boo. How would I have caught that? Besides Preston being on the ball and telling me I made a mistake. How else would I have known? It would not have equaled out. Would you agree? When I go to add it up. Now, what the important thing is, I need to add up my 4 numbers here, and in the directions, it gives me what it should equal to. Now, I don't like that they don't give you the general ledger account in these assignments, because you are not going to, in future assignments, it's not going to give you what it's supposed to equal to. You have to look in your general ledger to see what the balance of that account is. So what we want to do right now is, for the total, what is this total of? Accounts receivable. So I have to put in here total accounts receivable, not totals. And then I add up my numbers. And I got $2,530.22. And I equal, yay! You can try it on your own. All right, when we take a look at 11-2, some of you might be there already. I want to point out in the directions, it does tell you to post in chronological order by date. So when you're taking a look at your postings, they should be in correct chronological order. If you don't do that, it will mark things wrong. If you take a look at application 11-1, you had to follow that one exactly the same order. So please be aware of that. If you have any questions, I will be walking around to help you in that.